Happy Saturday, or welcome to the replay if you're watching this in the future. I do intend to keep this up for you guys, and I hope the connection lasts the whole time. I appreciate you hopping on. I want to get into a conversation about setting yourself up for success post-show when it comes to food and your body image. I made a post today on body image and how what you think about yourself when you look in the mirror actually impacts your results, but I want to get into a little bit more specifics about this because this is something I've had to work with. And hello to everyone hopping on live. So amazing to see you guys. Drop any questions you have about this topic in the comments and I will be happy to answer as we go because I think it could be helpful for anyone. But anyway, I'm 7 days post show. I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling very happy, grateful. I had a very long prep and I've been very successful so far this past week. So I really want to share some of the commitments I've made and learned along the way. There were a lot of show cancellations that put me into mini reverses as well. So I just want to share my insights as well as my expertise on the topic. So first and foremost, I want to give very implementable action steps that you guys can use moving forward. So feel free to save this video for future reference in case it's not applicable now. It will be in the future. After a show, I have very specific commitments to myself that I make. Okay, so first of all, I don't get on the scale or take measurements, weigh myself, or obsess over how I look in the mirror because I understand my body's going through a lot of changes after a show. Especially if you're someone who water cuts or you manipulate sodium or maybe you water load, your body's going to have very different responses. If you cut out artificials or any certain types of food leading up to a show as well, as you reincorporate them, your body has to respond. So I do not step on the scale and I do not measure myself until usually like my coach tells me when I need to check in. So usually that's like the following Friday after a show. This allows me to maintain commitment to myself that is not connected or attached or attributing to the way my body is shaped or the way that I am weighing myself or seeing my body image, okay? This helps to contribute to a healthier body image because it allows me to be rooted in how my body is functioning, performing, and feeling versus weighing and looking and whatever, meeting whatever standard that other people have about post-show. So that's one step, okay? And the reason for that is because if you get on the scale, let's say the day after, 2 days after your show, let's say you had like a nice meal, you had a good brunch or whatever, you've been pretty good on your plan aside from that, and then you step on the scale and you're up like 6 pounds, you're gonna be like, I screwed everything up, when really your body's like, I'm having a natural human response, physiological response to the changes you've made, but you might associate that with something very negative. And if that happens, well, of course, you're going to take more negative actions because you're going to reinforce this belief that I screwed up, so I might as well keep messing up. Similarly, if you focus so much on the mirror, you're constantly doing body checks because you've been in this habit. This is something I love working with my competitors on in prep. Not getting in the habit of body checking constantly because it shows up post-show and it's going to continue because it's a habit. And if you don't like what you see when you keep body checking, guess what? Your actions are going to represent that. But I digress. Not body checking all the time means when you look in the mirror, you're not going to be like, oh my God, I'm so fat. Now, granted, I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. There were a few times after this show where I was looking in the mirror and I was like, I'm so bloated. Oh my God, what if I did all this and I mess it up and blah, blah. I'm human, but I had the tools I needed to address that, and I recognized, whoa, this is an old pattern, not serving me. Now I need to implement what I do to address it, okay? So then we start to focus on, well, what do I actually want to be committed to when it comes to my body, when it comes to my commitment to myself? I'm committed to honoring how my body feels. I'm committed to hydrating my body. I'm committed to following my plan, or I'm committed to incorporating food slowly, or maybe understanding that if I don't incorporate them slowly, I'm likely going to be bloated, and accepting the natural response to those things. So that's a big deal too, is being ready and willing to accept what's going to be a natural response to the changes you're making. If you're not primed for that mentally, then you're not going to associate it with actual natural responses. Hopefully that makes sense so far. Let me know if that does, or if you guys have any questions about that specifically. The reason for this is because we don't want to create negative reinforcements for natural responses, because our body is amazing. Our body is always seeking to optimize its performance, and our commitments to ourselves can support that effort, or it may not. And the more you love your body in all stages and all phases and all responses, the better that you can support that homeostasis lasting. Now, the other thing that I want to consider here is the relationship you have with food. I'm so glad you're finding this helpful so far. Thank you. I appreciate that. Actually, I was inspired to start recording this because I'm working on that free food series that I'm putting together for you guys, because I got freaking so much interest in it. I'm so excited to actually launch it and get it out to you guys. But part of it was on reinforcement. So it's just like, I have to talk about this. I'm talking really fast because I'm excited. That's just part of this. I get so excited, so forgive me. And I like to get lots of information, so then you guys can pause it and then revisit or write down notes, whatever. Let's go back to topic. So the other thing is about food relationship, okay? Post-show, it's really important that you're not holding yourself to the same standard or expectation as you do on prep. Now, there's going to be some people who go, that's such a cop-out mentality, that's such a loser mentality, that's a this mentality. I want you to ask those people how they've done post-show or where they're at in a few years from now. There's got to be a sense of longevity that you can sustain your lifestyle and what you're committed to. Yes, prep can be sustainable. Yes, it doesn't have to be that big of a difference. And I've talked about that on a few different podcasts I've been on. So if you guys want to listen to that, just go to my page and they're there. But when you have a moment, let's say post-show, where you're like, oh, I need to be perfect just like I was on prep, or I don't understand why I'm not perfect like I was on prep, the circumstance is very different. The outcome, the result, the drive, the goal you're working towards is very different. And if you hold yourself to the standard of prep, you're taking yourself away from the new commitment you have. And that's not fair at all to yourself now or your future self, because you're going to end up with self-sabotaging behaviors, because there's this feeling of cognitive dissonance where your intentions aren't aligning with your identity or your beliefs or your commitments to yourself. So when it comes to your relationship with food, it's going to be really important to be mindful of what are you committed to post-show. Are you committed to following your plan perfectly to a T the first week after your show, but then that causes you to go crazy when you get a refeed the next weekend? Well, that's not really conducive. So we have to be really mindful of the commitments we make to ourselves, both post-show and on prep. What's up? I have some of my girls hopping on. It's awesome. Love seeing you guys. So keep this in mind. Intentions are really important, commitments are really important, and understanding that your commitments and intentions post-show and in an improvement season are going to look different than they do on prep. And the way that you speak about your body into your body when you look in the mirror, as well as your behaviors that then can create negative and positive associations, are all going to have an influence on your success. If you go into every situation judging yourself, guilt, shame, negativity, negative emotions, negative reactions, it's not only going to inhibit you from having the most fulfilling and successful preps and improvement seasons, but it's also going to take away from your body's ability to get the most out of the nutrients you're consuming, get the most out of the work you're putting in. I mean, just think of how exhausting it is to have negative emotions weighing you down, and then you go into the gym, you're not going to be able to train as hard. You're not going to be able to give your all to the intentions you've set. So if you go into a meal too with all these negative emotions, you're not going to be able to properly digest it. So I get into a lot of this stuff in, like I said, the free series I'm putting together for you guys, but also just in some of my posts. If you want more resources on this, I'm happy to send it to you. I really just wanted to give you guys some implementable steps you could take to help you post-show, like not weighing yourself immediately, not holding yourself to the same standard, being mindful of the association or functioning for you, and being willing to accept what's a natural and normal response. If you're struggling a lot post-show, please check out my 7-day free post-show personal development program, okay? This is different than the food relationship program. This is a post-show program. There's an 8-week version that you can invest in, but there's also a free version that you're more than welcome to hop on and into if this is something you're dealing with, or of course just scroll through some of my blog feeds or reach out to me personally. Can't wait to release this free series and help you guys even more. Let me know what you might struggle with post-show either in the comments or send me a DM, and I'll be happy to address that in a follow-up. And of course, I'd love to hear your main takeaways from this, maybe some commitments you're going to make to yourself after your next show, or in your next improvement season, or reverse, or little mini break. So really appreciate you guys hopping on live with me. It's always so much fun. I need to do these more. I hope that it was helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.